Everything you've been taught about money is wrong, and it's keeping you broke. But what if you could think like the 1%, the people who turn nothing into fortune? Today, you're going to learn the exact mindset secrets Robert Kiyosaki used to go from ordinary to extraordinary. So buckle up, because what you're about to learn could change the way you think, the way you earn, and the way you live forever. The awakening of a wealth mindset. From the very beginning, Robert Kiyosaki understood something most people never question. Why do some people rise, while others remain stuck? He grew up watching two father figures who lived in the same world, but operated with completely different views of money. His poor dad, highly educated and respected, believed in the traditional formula society teaches us: go to school, get good grades, and find a secure job. But Robert noticed something unsettling. Despite his father's intelligence, he struggled financially his entire life. Meanwhile, his rich dad, a man with little academic education, spoke about money completely differently. He didn't chase paychecks, he didn't rely on job security, and he didn't fear risk. Instead, he focused on learning how money works, building assets, and creating opportunities. This clash of philosophies became Robert's foundation. He realized that the world doesn't reward hard workers as much as it rewards smart thinkers. That the people who control money don't think like employees. They think like owners, creators, and problem solvers. This early contrast shaped his mission: to question the rules everyone else follows without thinking. Why do schools teach math and history, but avoid the most practical skill of all, financial intelligence? From a young age, Kiyosaki felt something was wrong with the system. Why are we taught to depend on a paycheck? Why are we told that security is the ultimate goal? Why does fear guide so many financial decisions? This first lesson is the doorway into the billionaire mindset. You cannot change your life with the same thinking that created your limitations. True transformation begins the moment you challenge the beliefs you were raised with. Understanding the global game of money. Robert Kiyosaki often reminds us that money doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists inside a massive global system. He believes the world is going through one of the biggest financial shifts in modern history. Economies rise, fall, and collide. Nations compete for power, control, and influence. And while most people remain focused on their next paycheck, the wealthy are studying global movements, currencies, debt cycles, and the behavior of governments. To Kiyosaki, this is not about fear, it's about awareness. When the global environment changes, the rules of money change with it. Inflation rises, currencies weaken, and savings lose value. Many people hold on to cash because it feels safe, but Robert argues that, in uncertain times, cash can be the riskiest place to store your wealth. He warns that relying on traditional advice, save money, avoid debt, trust the system, can leave people vulnerable when economies shift. The rich, however, see things differently. They plan for the long term. They protect themselves with hard assets, land, real estate, gold, silver, businesses, things that don't disappear during financial storms. They understand that wealth isn't just about accumulation, it's about preservation. Robert pushes you to look at the world with a wider lens. The game is bigger than your job, your salary, or your city. And if you want to thrive in the next decade, you must learn to think beyond your immediate surroundings. The message is clear. Don't be a small player in a big global game. Learn the rules, or be ruled by them. Rich mindset versus middle class trap. Kiyosaki says the separation between the rich and the middle class isn't about luck, privilege, or talent. It's about mindset. The middle class is taught to chase comfort, a stable job, a predictable income, a decent home, maybe a retirement fund. It feels safe. It feels responsible. But to Robert, that mindset creates the perfect trap because comfort kills ambition. The middle class works for money. The rich make money work for them. The middle class saves money. The rich invest money. The middle class avoids risk. The rich manage risk. Robert's words strike like a warning. If you're too focused on security, you'll never reach freedom. People who fear losing money rarely make any. People who fear failure rarely grow. People who avoid discomfort rarely become leaders. The rich understand that wealth requires courage, creativity, and financial intelligence. They use opportunities, leverage, networks, and systems to grow money, not just hours of labor. They look at money as a tool, not a destination. This segment becomes a mirror, forcing you to ask, am I thinking like the middle class or like the rich? The answer could define your next decade. Financial education, the skill school never taught you. Robert Kiyosaki believes the biggest financial epidemic in the world is not inflation, not debt, not recession, it's financial ignorance. Millions of people graduate school knowing how to memorize facts, but not how to manage money. They can solve equations, but cannot read a financial statement. They can write essays, but don't know the difference between an asset and a liability. Schools teach people how to become good employees, not wealthy individuals. And this lack of real financial education is exactly why so many people struggle, no matter how hard they work. Robert insists that learning about money is not optional. It's the foundation of freedom. Financial literacy is the ability to understand your cash flow, your assets, your liabilities, your taxes, your investments, and your opportunities. Without these skills, you're left at the mercy of the system. Kiyosaki didn't create the cash flow board game for entertainment. He created it because he wanted people to practice real financial decision-making in a safe environment. He wanted them to see how money actually behaves. His core message is simple but life-changing. If you want to change your financial life, you must first change your financial education. Knowledge creates choices. Choices create freedom, ethics, integrity, and the path to real wealth. People often assume that becoming rich requires cutting corners or compromising values. But Robert Kiyosaki argues the opposite. He says nothing he does is illegal, unethical, or immoral, and that integrity is a fundamental part of building wealth that lasts. Why? Because wealth built on shortcuts eventually collapses. Businesses built on manipulation fail. Investments built on lies crumble. Reputations built on greed fall apart. Robert emphasizes that genuine wealth is a long game. Successful people don't gamble their reputation. They protect it. They don't chase quick money. They build systems, assets, and relationships that endure. Integrity also affects your decision-making. When you know your actions align with your values, you think clearer, negotiate better, and build partnerships that matter. Trust becomes your leverage. Character becomes your currency. Kiyosaki challenges you to ask yourself, do your actions match the future you want to build? Because wealth without integrity isn't wealth. It's a ticking time bomb. The strategic use of debt and real assets. Robert Kiyosaki shocks people when he says, debt made me rich. But he's not talking about the kind of debt most people drown in, credit card debt, car loans, consumer spending. He's talking about productive debt, debt used to acquire assets that generate income. The poor and middle class fear debt. The rich master it. When Robert buys real estate, he uses lenders' money to acquire properties that produce cash flow. When he invests in businesses, he leverages financing to scale faster. When he looks at gold or commodities, he's thinking in decades, not months. This is a mental shift. Bad debt takes money from you. Good debt brings money to you. Most people suffer financially because they only know the first type, but the wealthy operate in the second. His message is empowering. You don't need to be rich to start. You need to be financially intelligent. Debt is a tool. It's neutral. Your knowledge determines whether it builds your future or destroys it. Your circle is your financial mirror. Robert Kiyosaki believes your future can be predicted by one thing: the people you surround yourself with. If you spend your days around people who fear money, you will absorb their fears. If you associate with those who complain about the economy, you will start to see limitation everywhere. But if you surround yourself with entrepreneurs, investors, and ambitious people, their mindset becomes your new normal. Your environment is shaping you, whether you realize it or not. Robert insists that mentors and peers are one of the biggest financial accelerators. The wealthy constantly exchange ideas, opportunities, deals, and insights. They don't isolate themselves. They don't compete with each other. They collaborate. But this requires sacrifice. Sometimes you must outgrow people you love. Sometimes you must leave comfort to step into growth. Sometimes you must choose your future over your familiarity. The question becomes, who are you learning from? Who influences your thinking? Who challenges you to rise? Choose wisely, because your circle becomes your destiny. Radical responsibility, no excuses, only ownership. Kiyosaki is brutally honest when he says, your financial life is your responsibility. No one is coming to save you. It's not your parents' fault, Not the government's fault, not your job's fault. Excuses may feel comforting, but they keep you trapped. Robert believes the moment you take full ownership, complete, unapologetic responsibility, you take back your power. He calls this extreme ownership of your financial reality. Whether you're winning or losing, progressing or stuck, everything changes when you stop pointing fingers and start finding solutions. He encourages people to fail often, to fail smart, and to fail forward. Failure is feedback. It builds emotional resilience and financial wisdom. The rich don't avoid failure. They learn from it faster than anyone else. He warns that waiting for perfect conditions is the quietest form of self-sabotage. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates opportunity. You don't need certainty. You need courage. The truth about assets and cash flow. One of Robert's simplest but most powerful teachings is this. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. Most people think they own assets, cars, homes, gadgets, but those things rarely pay you. In fact, they drain you through payments, maintenance, and interest. The rich understand the difference deeply. Real assets generate cash flow. Real estate, businesses, royalties, investments, commodities, intellectual property. These things create income, even when you're sleeping. This mindset flips the entire financial world upside down. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" Kiyosaki teaches you to ask, "Will this make me money every month? Will this increase my freedom? Is this taking me toward wealth or away from it?" When you shift your focus from working for money to building systems that create money, your life changes forever. That's when financial freedom becomes a mathematical reality, not a dream. Vision, purpose, and the mindset of the 1%. Robert says wealth doesn't start with money. It starts with mission. A clear mission gives your life direction. It shapes your decisions, your discipline, and your identity. Without a mission, people drift. With a mission, people rise. He emphasizes the importance of being willing to fail, not once, but repeatedly. Because failure is not the opposite of success. It is the price of success. He urges people to study, not for grades, not for degrees, but for mastery. The 1% spend their lives learning. They treat education as a lifelong investment, not a childhood phase. Kiyosaki's mindset is rooted in courage, clarity, and conviction. He believes that when your mission is bigger than your fear, you become unstoppable. This is the core of the billionaire mindset. Know what you want, believe you can create it, and act with boldness every single day. Final transformation, becoming the architect of your wealth. Robert Kiyosaki's ultimate message is simple. You are not trapped. You are simply untrained. And training is within your control. The world is changing fast, but your ability to adapt, learn, and grow can outrun any economic shift. You don't escape financial struggle by luck. You escape it by strategy. You escape it by thinking differently, by choosing differently, by surrounding yourself with better influences, by taking responsibility for your future. You grow rich when you decide that your life will not be dictated by tradition, fear, or limitations. You become wealthy the moment you step away from the mindset of dependency and step into the mindset of ownership. This isn't just financial advice, it's a new identity. The real takeaway is this. Your future wealth will be created by the person you become starting today. Change your mindset. Learn the rules. Build the assets. Take the risks. Follow the mission. Because the world doesn't reward comfort, it rewards courage.